Hello, this is the Dazzling One, and this week's discussion is on the dark side of social media. Social media is great because it allows us to connect to people we would otherwise have no access to talking to, as well as form groups and share opinions. It also allows us to market ourselves, and it also, like anything, has its darker elements to it. I remember the good old days when I was a child and there was no social media. If you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to talk to them face to face or call them on the phone. You didn't email them or send them a text message. Fast forward, I'm in middle school and kids begin to get Xanga and MySpace accounts. And I wasn't allowed to have one until I was nearly 15 years old and I signed up for Facebook. I was gleeful to finally connect with people and find out all the esoteric secrets of social media. And I quickly learned that who people presented themselves as, bold, with all kinds of opinions and tough talk, wasn't who they really were when I saw them floating around school. However, it still didn't stop me from immersing myself in this false cyber world. And while I do appreciate social media because without it, I wouldn't be talking to you, I also think that too much of it can be harmful like anything else. And one major issue I see with it is conformity. At first, it looks like it gives you a sense of individuality. You create your own profile, you put up your own pictures, you design your own account. And that was the way it was in the beginning, but then people begin to form groups. And when they form groups, they develop their own language, their own codes, their own mannerisms, hand gestures, ways to pose for pictures. And you learn that group talk. If you disagree, then often you're accused of being a disinformation agent, a shill. That's at least how it is in the truth community. But it's not just the truth community that has these issues. Take Instagram, for example. To be an Instagram model isn't easy, and it's not just having a pretty face and a nice body. You gotta have the right type of pretty face with makeup, and there are very attractive women with and without makeup online. However, I notice too many women, and this isn't just on Instagram, even regular YouTubers will paint the same exact face on themselves so there's no difference in appearance. There's a reason why God made us with different complexions, facial features, hair colors, body shapes, and so on. But too many young women and women in general feel insecure without makeup, and it's rather sad because yes, women have worn makeup for a long time. However, to contour your face into a totally new face is, to me, a bit extreme. And I'm very fortunate that I grew up not wearing makeup. I only wore it to special occasions like prom, homecoming, or graduation. And I've put it on every now and then whenever I wanted to take a picture of myself to see what I look like, but I haven't actually worn it outside in 5 years. And I'm happy I'm able to go out with my skin, and I'm one of those people who does not have perfect skin. I've dealt with acne scars, and other facial blemishes that many feel insecure about, but it is pretty rare to run into other women without makeup, and filters make it worse because people will filter their pictures as well, and it's easy to do, especially when people are coming out looking picture perfect. There's definitely a lot of consideration that goes into being a part of a community, learning the talk, learning the right look that you should have, and it does irk me somewhat when I see fakery online, just like when I see it in person, when you can tell it's not coming from the heart, but it's coming from a script. Not just any script, but a script that was created to imitate somebody else. And yes, there are such things as disinformation agents, shills, but people are allowed to have their own opinions. When you can't, it's almost like a cult-like mentality. And it does concern me when an individual says that they have no disagreements with someone, because I don't care how much I agree with somebody, there's always going to be 5% or less that I disagree with them with. It's just a fact of life. And it's rather childish and unrealistic to think that anyone on this earth is going to agree with me 100% all the time. It could be as simple as, I love coffee, they hate it. I love blue and they like red. And when I first became a part of the internet community, I didn't even know much about the truth community, but quickly, as bigger truther channels shared my work, people began subscribing to me and labeling me a truther, and I felt a lot of pressure to learn the language, to agree, or if I didn't agree, don't say anything. But over time I've learned that you gotta stand on your own 2 feet, and sometimes if you don't agree with something, it doesn't always mean you gotta make videos and attack and slander those who don't, but don't pretend to go with something you don't agree with. If they don't agree and they dislike you or unfollow you for it, then so be it. It's just the way life is. Another side of the internet and social media that can become dark is online relationships. People can be deceived by an online personality very easily, and I'm not just talking about having a large channel or having followers. You could literally be a person who's online and you have one follower, and that one follower begins this online relationship with you. Just like this audio, while I'm recording it, what you're going to hear when it's played back is going to be in edited form. And that's the same way with how people are online. We get to post what we want people to see, hide what we don't want them to see. And so people, of course, are going to airbrush their pictures. They're going to edit their voice. They're going to edit out any mistakes that they have. And people are only going to post good things about themselves. Very few people will post humiliating and degrading things unless they're trying to do it for some type of entertainment or shock value. But with online relationships, where it gets dark is that one person may view the relationship as being more than it is. One may see it as a casual person they talk to online, the other as their best friend or worse, lover. And I've dealt with online stalkers, both stalkers who did it out of quote-unquote adoration or out of an unhealthy type of I'm gonna destroy you type of obsession. I've had stalkers in real life and online, and it's not fun, and I don't see how anyone could find it cute or brag about it. And there's a lot of story time videos out there that young people watch, and many of them are fake, but it's nothing fun to deal with if you've ever dealt with any form of stalking before. And people do get disappointed when they think you are that very person that they've imagined you to be, because what happens is, for instance, I'll use myself, they hear my voice, they develop what they think I look like, what I am like outside of it, this personality. Then they actually talk to me and they find out, oh, you don't seem the same way that I thought you were, because they ascribed all these different things to me that aren't a part of me, or you don't look like what I thought. And even when people do see the way you look and they hear your voice, they still have misconceptions. I could vlog and you wouldn't really know me unless we actually hung out for days, weeks, even years, and got to know each other face to face. And that's why I don't see online relationships as real life relationships. However, I do think it can develop into that, but I think you would have to talk over a course of time and then decide to meet and be safe, because there's a lot of predators out there who lie about their identity. So be careful what you share with people. And I do think it's impossible to be 100% raw. Even those who are very raw in their videos, you still don't get the full scope unless there's a camera following them into every room. And sometimes there is a such thing as going too far with the amount of information that you share about yourself. We don't need to know every detail of your life, and I do believe some of these feuds we see between people stem from personal issues that they had behind the scenes, manifesting as something superficial. And I do think some feuds are done for views, and I do think that's one of the best collaborations you can do if you want like thousands of views, is to feud with somebody. But it's also sad to see that sort of infighting and division. Real life, online, two different things. And be careful what you say about yourself on your accounts, because people can dig it up later. There are people who get condemned because of something they said in high school or college, or pictures that they posted of themselves, and people will use it to say that's the way they are now, and if they've matured and they've changed since then. Also, people have location on their Facebook and Twitter accounts that tell people where they're checking in out. That could be very dangerous. You don't know who's watching your profile. Facebook, in my opinion, is just another way of building a dossier on yourself. You tell people where you work, what your education background is, and so be very careful. And I know sometimes some jobs and schools require you to have a social media account, and it's inevitable, but be very careful. And when you talk to people, don't just tell them all your information. You barely know them, because they could be recording you, they could be lying about who they are as well, and they could be trying to dox you. And I'm fortunate enough not to have someone do that to me. I have had people who have looked me up based on knowing my first name because I've talked to people and I've shared my first name before. But as far as going into like, oh, this is where I live, this is where I go to school, I wouldn't go as far to do that because it's very easy for people to find you. There's tons of websites where if they know your first name and your state, especially if you have a rare first or last name, they can easily look you up and find you and find out your address and everything else. So it's not that hard. And when you post things, once it's out there, you can't take it back. Cyberspace will have it forever. There's websites like Wayback Machine to take your videos that you even made private, and people can download them within seconds of them going up on the internet. And hackers can easily get it with IP logging software. So, like I said, think very long and hard about what you post, what you tell people, because you don't want to be that person sitting there regretting that now you have people prying into your personal life and stalkers. And social media can also lead to competitive feelings. For instance, Facebook. During May of 2016, felt a little blues because a lot of people, I'd say about 70 to 80% of my colleagues from high school were graduating college in the 4-year time span, and I took a year off, and then I had some interruptions within my college career, so I wasn't graduating at the same time. And I knew other people just like myself who were taking a bit longer, who had taken time off, who never went to college to begin with, and I saw some of them posting and sharing articles about how it's okay to take 5 to 6 years or never go to college. A huge part of feeling that way had to do with the fact that we were plugged into social media. 20 years ago, as a 20-something-year-old, you wouldn't see what most of the people that you went to high school with were doing. You wouldn't know about their marriage and their kids unless you lived like in a small community where everyone knew each other. But now I can move across the world and I can still keep up with people who I haven't seen in years thanks to all of these different platforms. You can even see their information even if you're not friends with them. And it's kind of freaky if you think about it. But this is why I encourage you to unplug from time to time. Don't make the internet your new home. Get outside, breathe the fresh air, volunteer, have conversations with family, friends, meet people. It's amazing how sometimes we talk about how there's nobody decent around us, but that's because we don't make the effort to talk to people around us, or we rule them out based on the way they dress or look. And I've been guilty of this. I'm a very introverted, socially awkward individual, and when I go out often, I don't talk to many people, but I've come to find when you do strike up conversations, it's amazing how many people may agree with you or be on the same page with you, you just don't know it yet. But develop hobbies or skills, or find them. Take classes if you have the money to. Volunteer if you have the time. There's plenty of things you can do that are offline, and if you have addiction with being online, with obsession for instance, if you feel the urge where you can't go a day without checking out a particular individual's profile, you have to know what they're doing at all times, that is a form of online obsession. Try to take a day away from looking at their profile and reward yourself for being able to do that. Turn off your Wi-Fi, turn off your phone if you have to get away from social media. Don't let it become an addiction or something that creates a lot of depression or low self-esteem in you. And I know what I'm saying is easier said than done, but I just wanted to share my thoughts on the dark side of social media, and I'm sorry for rambling for a long time and boring you, but if you've made it to the end of this video, congratulations. And if you haven't already, hit the little notification button by my profile so you can get updates whenever I upload, because YouTube is funny about notifying people if they don't turn on notifications. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care, and God bless you.